Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Cyrille for F of X Protocol. Should we give up on decentralized stablecoin? What do you think? First, I'd like to thank you all for being here today, especially after the Rave and this morning. When we look at the stablecoin market, we can obviously think that it's just booming. But when we look a little more in details, what about decentralized stablecoin? Well, you'd probably be surprised. Decentralized stablecoin are only 0.3% of all stablecoins. So there's more and more stablecoins being emitted every day. Maybe not every day, but like every weeks or so, there's over 200 stablecoins around. And most of them just do pretty much the same thing, which is basically, when you look at the stablecoin trilemma, they just make a compromise on decentralization so that they can deliver a very stable stablecoin and scalable stablecoin that can onboard massive capital almost instantly. But did we really create the most decentralized layer to onboard decentralized stablecoins? All of them rely on one simple thing, which is trust. So we created blockchain and Ethereum to abstract trust from financial transactions, and most of what we're doing with stablecoins is just trusting people again. And the past spoke already on different trusted stablecoin designs, and most people at some point were disappointed. So in a nutshell, all these real-world assets, tokenized real-world assets, stablecoins, T-bills, tokenized T-bills, and so on, are delivering higher risk by putting them on-chain for pretty much the same rewards. That means probably most of these new projects are not going to make it. But in a blue ocean, there's FXUSD. FXUSD is F of X Protocol's decentralized stablecoin. And I'll dive a little deeper into the model because we believe to be a great stablecoin trilemma. I guess the most balanced approach of the stablecoin trilemma that lets scale while delivering way lower risk, being 100% on-chain decentralized. So, to understand how FXUSD is emitted, let me explain what FX is. Basically, F of X protocol is a new approach of the CDP model, some kind of an evolved CDP model. So if you're familiar with the CDP, Maker was probably in the first days the most famous one. Liquidity did an amazing job as well as creating a decentralized stablecoin. And we took a different approach to make it more scalable and reliable. So to understand how FXUSD is emitted, I have to explain the leverage offering, which is called the X positions. So X positions gives up to 7x leverage on BTC and ETH, while offering a very low liquidation risk. The way I'll dive deeper in how we mitigate the liquidation impact. You don't have to pay any borrowing costs or funding costs when leveraging ETH or BTC, but instead, you just pay a one-time fee when you open and close your position, making the price of your leverage position very predictable. So, in a way, it's a zero-stress leveraged offering. There's no stress of hard liquidations and no uncertainty of funding costs, raising funding costs as you could face on a perp exchange, for instance. And again, it's 100% on-chain and trustless. And we recently, so X positions have been live since January 25 and running pretty well and helped us scale FXUSD to over $72 million market cap. And we just announced the upcoming release of S positions that will basically offer the same value proposition, but for shorting ETH and BTC. So you will soon be, and when I say soon, it's probably in the next 10 days, be able to short ETH and BTC while staying on-chain with just a one-time fee and benefiting from this unique liquidation protection mechanism. Let me explain how X position works. So let's say you're that little guy on the left and you want to take a 5x leverage on ETH. You only have $200 of ETH and you will put them into the F of X protocol's reserve. To deliver that 5x leverage, the protocol will need an extra $800. So to do so, the protocol will flash borrow $800 of STEEF and add them to the reserve. So now the reserve is made of $1,000 of STEEF. And the protocol will be able to open your X position worth $200 and to emit and mint FXUSD, $800 of FXUSD, in order to repay the flash loan. So at that very moment, the protocol has $1,000 of STEEF in the reserve. You have an X position worth $200 and $800 of FXUSD are on the market. So your X position is worth $200, but gets the market exposure of the whole reserve. And this is how you get that 5x leverage. So if the price of ETH raises by 10%, the value of the reserve goes by $1,100. The value of all FXUSD stays $800 because obviously it's a stablecoin. And if you calculate the difference, the value of your X position is now worth $300, delivering a 50% raise when the market raised by 10%, so that's a 5x leverage. Now let's look at the S positions, which is the brand new product we're about to release. It's pretty much the same mechanism, except instead of backing it with STEEF, we back it with FXUSD. Let me explain it in details. So you're that little guy again, and your market has changed. You now want to short ETH. Woo! Let's say you want to take a 5x short on ETH, and you, again, only have $200. So you will pledge your 200 FXUSD to the protocol, and the protocol, in order to open your position, will need an extra $1,000. To do so, the protocol will flash borrow $1,000 of STEEF and instantly sell them for FXUSD, thus creating the short position. These $1,000 are added to the reserve, and the protocol is now able to open your S position worth $200. In order to repay the flash loan, the protocol will take STEEF out of the X position reserve so that the flash loan is instantly repaid. And again, now if the price of ETH decreases by 10%, the value of your debt is now only worth $900, which means by closing your position, you can make $100 profit, which is a 5x. This is the way we are able to offer S positions, which lets you open a short with just a one-time fee, and with the liquidation protection mechanism I'm going to explain in a couple of minutes. So you may ask about FXUSD spec. What's better in our approach of the CDP? We have a very strong peg keeping design. The first one is the X position and S position themselves, because you may have understood that when you open an X position, you're creating selling pressure on FXUSD, because FXUSD is sold to repay the flash loan. In the same way, when you close your X position, you bring buying pressure on FXUSD. And the S positions are actually doing the opposite effect. So whenever you open an S position, you're creating a buying pressure on FXUSD, and when you close it, you're creating a selling pressure. So the very fact that we add the S positions will bring a natural balancing effect on FXUSD spec. But the first layer of actual peg keeping mechanism is called the stability pool. On f(x) protocol, the stability pool acts as a peg keeper by taking both FXUSD and USDC. And this is the main stable yield strategy on f(x) protocol. The stability pool will capture most of the protocol fees and get a very attractive and sustainable yield. Whenever FXUSD is traded below 0.997 on the main liquidity pool, which is on the curve, the USDC from the stability pool will buy FXUSD to repeg it. And whenever FXUSD is traded above 1, the stability pool will sell them. And so this is the first layer of peg keeping. But you know, when you create a DeFi protocol, you always have to anticipate what could go wrong. So whenever FXUSD, there's a new stuff coming with the S positions. Whenever that stability pool starts lacking of USDC, the X position will start paying a small funding cost, which probably will be the USDC borrowing cost on Aave. And this funding cost will be directed to the stability pool. thus attracting new USDC by delivering a very attractive organic yield and repegging FXUSD. So this is the first, I'd say the second layer of peg keeping that works with the first, with the stability pool. And if that's not enough, and if FXUSD starts to depeg for too long, as a matter of fact, it's when the EMA 42 minutes crosses 0.998. So that's a small depeg, but long enough to be noticeable. At that point, we trigger what I call the depeg mode, and the X positions can no longer be open to prevent further FXUSD selling pressure. And at that point, the funding level 2 is applied to leverage to X positions to create a very big incentive to close the leverage position and also distribute a crazy yield to the stability pool to attract new USDC to repeg the stablecoin. So when you open a leverage position, you will very unlikely pay any funding cost, and if you do, most of the time it's just for a very brief moment because the instant APR distributed to the stability pool is in double digits and should attract very quickly new, fresh USDC to help repegging FXUSD. And the worst result is redemption mechanism. If FXUSD is still depegged, so if the protocol is still in what I call the depeg mode, you can buy FXUSD at the market and redeem it against the collateral, paying a 0.5% redeeming fee. So the worst case scenario of FXUSD peg is 0.995. And this is how we managed to scale FXUSD so far with a very reliable peg. So I told you we have this liquidation protection mechanism, which is very unique on FFX protocol. We call this the liquidation break. And the way it works is actually very simple. The idea is that it's made to prevent any hard liquidation as you could face on perp exchange or other CDPs that most of the time will liquidate 50 to 100% of your position at a time. The idea is that whenever your loan to value crosses 88%, so that means you're too leveraged basically, and your position may start to be at risk, the protocol will put it back at 88% LTV so that your position never reaches the 95% hard liquidation LTV. I hope this is not like too barbarian terms, but I'm happy to take any questions in the end. So the idea is that it's a very, very progressive liquidation. And the protocol can even liquidate just $1 of your debt. And to do this in a profitable and efficient way, we aggregate the liquidity of all leverage positions instead of taking them individually. I will show you a small example, so maybe it's easier to understand. The idea of the liquidation break is that you are able to keep the maximal exposure while keeping the protocol solvent, and so that you can benefit from a market recovery, if any. Let me show you that animation. So you can see in blue, this is if price decreasing. In yellow, this is the rebalancing line, so where the liquidation break starts. And in red, this is the hard liquidation line. So you see that the hard liquidation line goes down with the price decreasing. And whenever the price recovers, you can recover with it without actually hitting the hard liquidation line. Yeah, that's it. And you can even make profit after. So I told you also about the stability pool. So the stability pool is the main yield strategy on f of x. And as I told you, it earns most of the protocol's fees. We recently tokenized it under the ticker FXSave. So FXSave is the yield-bearing strategy of f of x protocol. So since it's based on the stability pool, it's backed by FXUSD and USDC. But if you understood the peg keeping mechanism, you understood that USDC is not backing FXUSD at any time. It's just here to act as liquidity to help keeping the peg. So FXSave is fully on-chain, and FXUSD is backed only by Lido Steve and Wrap Bitcoin at the moment. It's at least 100% collateralized, so this is not algorithmic stablecoin. If you ask yourselves, this is the first question I usually hear when I say we work on a decentralized stablecoin. Is it algorithmic? Is it Luna? No. And it has a perfect pegback design, as I just explained. There's already 12 audits made, so and the 13 is being made by OpenZeppelin, and the previous were made by SegBit and Trail of Bits. So there's not a single line of code into production which hasn't been audited. It may sound normal, but in most cases, when there's a problem, it's because the team figured, oh, it doesn't really need an audit, it's simple stuff, but not that simple. So we don't publish, we don't put anything into production without being audited. And this is how Aladdin DAO, which is the DAO behind FX protocol, built 3 protocols over the past 4 years without any major incident. So since FXAve gets most of the protocol fees coming from the opening and closing fees from the collaterals yield mostly, it's 100% organic and sustainable yields. That means there's no token inflation involved into FXAve's yield, there's no point BS and stuff like that. This is just organic on-chain yields. Which means, since it's 100% on-chain, you can monitor your risk at all times, so we deliver lower risks to compare with all these real-world asset stuff for better rewards. And don't trust me, just look at the numbers. If you look at that dashboard from StableYields.info, which is a great dashboard, actually, you should check it out. It's been built by the Inverse Finance. You can compare all the yield-bearing stablecoin strategies in DeFi. Since we released FXAve a couple of months ago, FXAve, it's the beautiful orange line here, and has always been delivering the best yields over DeFi while doesn't imply, without implying any human execution risk. So a couple of achievements. Over the past few months, there was no hard liquidations on FOVX protocol. FXUSD recently crossed $72 million market cap while growing absolutely organically. The protocol is almost 230 million TVL, and it generates over $5 million of fees per year. I'll let you check the... No, I'm not talking about this now, but I'll let you dive a little deeper into the protocol. Yeah, that's it. I believe I have a little time for questions. Oh, just a little word about the roadmap. So as I told you, we're about to release the short positions in a couple of days. So it should also bring some more fees because we have like a very nice user base longing. So now they will also be able to short without leaving FOVX. So it will help also power FXUSD by gathering fees in every market conditions in a way. Then we'll soon release the limit orders and stop losses. The idea is to deliver a complete suite for traders and for traders mostly. And while the current way to take leverage is mostly directional leverage since we abstract the looping of the CDP, we'll also release FX Mint in a couple of weeks that would let users have our CDP UX for instance, to just get better capital efficiency, or even to get BTC denominated yield, for instance. So yeah, that's it. And we also have some good stuff coming on layer 2s. Well, thank you very much. FOVX protocol, trade smart, earn more, sleep well. If you want to learn more, feel free to scan this QR code. You'll find the link tree with all the relevant links. Please join us on the Aladdin DAO Discord. This is a very friendly community. FOVX has no VC backing. There's no team allocation. This is a community protocol. We all started by joining the Discord. So feel free to join, ask questions, contribute. You're more than welcome. I don't know, do I have a little time?
We have 2 minutes.
2 minutes. If there's any question, feel free to. Otherwise, I'll be around. Happy to grab a coffee with you guys. Thank you very much.